to you. And yeah,
Cool.
you've got the whole hour to teach us whatever you feel like teaching. Very excited. Thank you so much, Sean.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. So I just wanted to kind of introduce myself. I see a few of you on the stream that I do know. And, my history is I'm a pro photographer, and during lockdown 2020, my business got shut down basically because of lockdowns, and I decided I'm going to learn how to trade. And in the beginning, I got involved with a couple of crypto scams and rug pulls and a few things, but eventually I managed to find guys that are very good at technical analysis. I hooked up with them and made sure that I watched just about everything that I absolutely could, and started charting on Tradingview, and basically just copied what these guys were doing, and really didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. But eventually, as I started charting out lines and patterns, these things started making sense to me. And I realized a lot of the guys that are on YouTube that I was watching were giving certain pieces of information, but they weren't actually putting it together for how you actually enter trades, how you find convergence, and all of these things. And I'm sure a lot of you would have found the same thing. So what I'm going to attempt to do, I'm going to start out with some basic Bitcoin and Ethereum technical analysis. I'll show you some of my charts that I've charted, and the levels that I look at every day. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of clear those charts, start with an absolutely clean chart, start from the beginning, how I chart my support levels, my resistance levels, what I look at in terms of indicators, what I look at in terms of fibs, and maybe even look at some of the order books, how to look at the order books, looking at things like liquidations, how that affects the market. Does a short liquidation affect the market by going up or down? So, these are things that I struggled with in the beginning when I first started trading. And hopefully that will help you guys. And what I'll do as well, when I get to the end of each section, I'll give you guys an opportunity to maybe just ask some questions about what we were talking about in that section. And also at the end of the session, if there's any extra questions, I'll try and answer them for you as accurately as possible. And so just to let you guys know that I'm still learning. I'm learning every single day. And when I started learning at the end of 2020, it was around about August 2020, I decided I'm going to read something about crypto every single day, look at a video about crypto every single day, chart something every single day, try and buy, and find out things about crypto every single day.
And at least follow the price every day also. I find that if you're on the trail, if you are always aware of the patterns that are evolving on daily, it really, really helps if you don't get left behind.
100%. Cool. So I think let us get into it. I see we've got a couple of guys that have joined us. Welcome to you guys if you've just joined us. And we are going to get.
See, we've got Vanna on the line, so we've got another pro trader on the line. Welcome, Vanna. If you have at any point anything that you'd like to step in and add some info, that would be lovely. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Jordan. Hi, Sean. How are you guys keeping?
How's it, man? Good. Thank you.
I'm good. I'm just freaking tired. I had a nice drive to Gauteng and back up to the Limpopo province. Saw 7 freaking accidents. So it's been a hectic day. So please, guys, carry on. I'm just going to watch.
Within the day. Oh, my word. Okay.
Yeah, incredible.
Now, I know what it's like. As a trader, at the end of the day, when my family goes to sleep, I watch TA videos to relax. So,
That's great.
To be honest with you, I don't consider myself a pro yet. I'm about a year and almost a year and a half into my trading journey. And personally, I see this journey as at least a 2 to 5 year journey to get into it full time. I'm not trading full time yet, but my goal is to trade full time. So guys, let's start out on the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to firstly just show you my Bitcoin chart that I do my daily charting on. And if you don't have a TradingView account, go to tradingview.com. It's free to register. I suggest you do this because if you're going to be doing your own TA and you want to really progress in your charting and becoming a better trader, you really need to get onto TradingView. So I'm going to go to BTC, USDT, and of course I'm going to select Bybit because we are trading on Bybit and we are a Bybit channel. So, and what I like to do, you can see on the right-hand side here, there's a whole bunch of things. And the way that you open that, I'm just going to close that real quick. The way that you open that is you can right-click anywhere on your chart and you can open up your object tree. So your object tree is literally everything that you've charted on that particular chart for the history of when you started. So I'm going to click on that. And what's nice about this, I found, is that I tend to do a lot of things on my chart, and eventually your chart starts getting very, very cluttered. So to minimize the clutter, what I like to do is turn certain things on and off so that I can look at things, focus on that particular thing, turn on the next thing, look at it, then maybe turn on a few things together so that I can find confluence within my charts. So I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to go to my weekly chart, and it's always best to start on the larger time frames. Why that is because it gives you a much bigger picture. And let's turn that rising wedge trend line off and this parallel channel off. So on this chart, I can see a rising wedge pattern that is formed, and it's come from the 14th of December. You can see if I hover on this candle, it's a weekly candle. So each of these candles represent a week within the Bitcoin trading chart. So I can see from here, if I draw my apologies. I'm going to go a little bit slow because some of you might not have drawn charts before. So on the left-hand side, you can go click on this little icon and you can select your trend lines, arrows, rays, and so on. So what you use most of the time is trend lines, and also I like to use horizontal lines to chart my support, resistance, and so on. So let's click that trend line. And from that 14th of December 2020, you can see the date at the bottom. I'm going to chart that trend line and try and get as many touches as I possibly can. Then for the upper trend line, trying to get as many touches as I possibly can. And what I like to do, just to make sure that my accuracy is good, if you click on the candles over there, and instead of candles, you select a line chart, you can actually see how accurate you are. So what you can do, if your candles were a little bit less accurate, what you can do is just grab your trend line and make sure you've got as many touches as possible. So there you can see I don't have an exact touch, so I can actually move that down 1, 2, 3, 4 on the weekly time frame. And on this side here, I've got, let's just adjust that there, 1, 2, almost 3, and at the moment 4 touches on my trend lines. So let's change back to a candle chart. And I always tell people, if you want to see trend lines, if you want to see chart patterns and know what's going on in chart patterns, I suggest you use a site called Pattern Index. I refer to this site almost every single day. So you can just go to the patternsite.com, click on home, and you go to chart patterns, and you can see here, it gives you an index of all of the chart patterns. You can see the maroon ones are the ones that I click on very, very often. And what I'm going to do is go down to wedges, because we're in a huge ascending wedge, or a rising wedge. So if I click on that link, it will show me what the pattern looks like. And if I compare back to my Bitcoin chart, that's exactly what it's giving me there. So it tells you. So Thomas Bulkowski has written a book on trading patterns, and each of the trades he's traded between 700 and 900 trades. You can see here the above number are based on more than 1,400 perfect trades. So he tells you rising wedge, important bull market results, overall performance rank for up and down breakouts. One is best, and it ranks 32 out of 39 or 36. Breakout break-even failure rate for up-down breakouts, 19% and 51%. Average decline, it gives you that, pullback, and so on. So then it gives you the identification guidelines. Price trend can be in any direction leading to the pattern. The shape is a narrowing and rising triangle shape, as you can see here in the drawing there. Trend lines. So this is very important. Price bounces between two upsloping and converging trend lines. So let's go back to our chart. We can see price is definitely bouncing between two upsloping and converging trend lines. The next rule is that price should touch at minor high or minor low each trend line at least 5 times to outline a good pattern. That's 3 touches on the one trend line and 2 on the opposite. So let's go and have a look at that. We got on the top trend line, we've got 1, oopsie, my apologies, let me just change that. We've got 1, 2, 3, almost 4, 5 touches on the upper trend line. Let's look on the lower trend line. 1, 2, and 3. So that definitely confirms as a rising wedge pattern, according to Bulkowski. Volume trend, the duration. This is also very, very important. 3 weeks is the minimum duration, otherwise it's a pennant. Volume trend trends downward 79% of the time until the breakout. Can be any direction, and it is downward 60% of the time. The pattern confirms a valid one when the price closes outside the trend line. So I'm not going to bore you with all of these things. I suggest you go to thepatternSite.com, look at the rules for trading this, but I'm basically going to give you a summary of how to trade this. Let's just remove one of these.
That is very helpful. So basically you do your TA looking for patterns on these higher time frames. What are you on the
Correct.
weekly now? So you find your pattern, and then you go to that
Correct.
pattern site, and you look at all the detailed
Absolutely.
rules. You make sure that it's actually that pattern within that time frame and how it's going to possibly play
Absolutely. Out. To give you an example, I used to draw double bottoms or a W pattern or cup and handle patterns quite often on my chart when I started out. But I didn't realize that there's certain rules for the time frame of that cup and handle pattern. For instance, a cup and handle pattern.
All the criteria, yeah.
Yeah, it should be within 7 to 65 weeks in length. Whereas, we look at some of the shorter time frames, like on the 15 minutes, and we identify cup and handle, but it's not a valid one technically because it needs to be on a longer time frame.
Yeah, I also found it out recently. I mean, those cup and handles, they're long time frame patterns.
Absolutely. They're long-term swing patterns.
They show massive swings, and they really do work. I mean, if you manage to trade a cup and handle to the upside, that's where you get massive swing trades.
Absolutely, and it's a long-term.
Don't always play out, but the thing is, you want to take the chances on those cup and handles, because when they do play out, I mean, it's like parabolic.
Absolutely. And it's the same with this rising wedge pattern, because a few things can play out here. And if you look at the history of this, they're all long-term trades. So if I had to enter a trade at this point and trade it all the way to the top of the trend line and possibly take a short here when I've got a confirmation candle, price or negative price action, and I'll try and talk about that time allowing, I could have traded it down there, taken profit there, taken a long position there, and so on. So at the moment, what's happening is that if we see a breakdown or a really negative bearish action over here, we could see price breaking down to some of the support levels, and looking immediately, there's a support level, there's a support level. That's where quite a few candles converge. Alternatively,
actually, saw the Moon talking about that just now, and it's the first time that I've really ever seen him say anything bearish. I didn't watch his YouTube video, but the title of his video was, "If Bitcoin does this, I'm selling all my Bitcoin." And it's the first time I've ever seen him say that.
Yeah, some of the Moon Boys YouTubers are finally admitting that you sometimes have to short the market.
Starting to change a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if
he does short though, the Moon does short, yeah.
If you are a more of a risky kind of trader, what you can do is change to some of the smaller time frames, like the daily. Let's just do that. We can still see there's a little bit of negative momentum there on the daily chart. So let's go to the 4 hour, see what's happened there, and you can see this trend line has been respected quite nicely as we've gone along. So what I would do is wait for a bullish candle, maybe on the 15-minute or the 30-minute. And to be honest with you, today there's not been much price action from whenever I've had a look. So I would wait for a very nice bullish, maybe a hammer candle here, and take the long from there. And you've got to look at your volume and so on as well. So, but I think what I'm going to do is, let me just show you my chart here. So what I tend to do is let me just turn off that.
Sean, sorry, can I just quickly ask you something?
Please.
Do me a favor. Just quickly go back to the 1 day. I think that was the shortest time frame you had there. Just go back to the 15-minute time frame, and just right at the bottom of your chart, just press the auto button. I just want to see something quickly.
Sorry, press the which button?
The auto button, right bottom right of the.
Got you. Okay.
Just
the lines it's auto, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Interesting. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. What were you looking at there? I'd love to know.
It's just when you press that auto button, and then it actually enhances the total look of the chart. To be honest,
I got you.
It spaces it out perfectly.
I got you.
Better, and you can then actually place alerts on your Tradingview app. So
I got you.
When price reaches that wedge, you get your alert and you can actually act upon it. So that is
correct.
I'm used to look at a lot of different YouTubers, and I've learned so much. And I saw that is one definite thing that everybody lacks in. They tend to forget to press that auto button, because that clears up the chart so much. And I'm a high leverage trader, so sorry for being rude, but I only use high leverage, and all the time I'm only trading like the 4-minute and the 15-minute because I'm a cowboy. But every single screen I press auto, because it gives you a better look at the chart. So just
awesome.
I also obsessively click that auto button. Yeah, and you can also click that. I mean, obviously you know about the magnet button on the left, which also helps you when you viewing your resistance lines.
I hate those, but because I like to chart mine manually, but I'll definitely use that auto button.
It can get irritating, yeah, when it clicks. You know, you don't want it to be clicking too much. If it gets irritating, I just turn it off.
Correct. So, okay. Yeah, so I think it was Werner that was saying you can actually set your alerts here. So you can see there's a plus button, and if I click on that, I can add an alert for BTC 46,479. If I click on that, it's actually, did it add my alert? There it is. Okay. So it would have added an alert. You can see that orange dotted line for when BTC crosses that point to give me an alert so I can decide what to do at that point. So let's just remove that alert.
It's very helpful, so you don't have to keep your eyes on the screen. You can go out and do something else, and then you get called back into a trade.
Exactly. I used to sit and watch the trade for hours and hours and hours when I first started out, until I realized that I could actually set an alert.
One eye open while you're sleeping.
That's it. And you absolutely get smashed because
you become like a zombie.
Absolutely. So what I like to do, let us just delete this trend line or switch that off. So what I like to do is to put groups in terms of my support and resistance, and immediately I can go to my object tree and turn those supports and resistances off. I don't have to redraw them on my chart each and every single time. So what you can see here, Bitcoin's been trading between this range of 45,800-ish to that level of 50,700 over the last couple of days. And I'm going to show you how I chart those support and resistances very, very quickly. And there's a guy called Chart Champions that I watch quite often, and he likes to chart his support and resistances in different colors. So what we can do is we can start on the monthly time frame. Where are you?
I think it's Chart Champions. That I've been seeing. They tend to chart the daily level, the weekly level, and the monthly level quite nicely in like different colors.
Exactly. So what you want to look out for is multiple touches of your candles. So obviously this is each of these is a monthly candle. So we've had 1, 2, 3. Not too much data at that point of 58,000 on the monthly. But I guess if you wanted to, you could go and click on your trend lines or and select horizontal line. And when you hover over that and click your mouse button, it will draw your level. So I like to put, like Chart Champions, I like to put my monthly level in a purple. And you can confirm if that is a very good level once we go to the weekly time frame. There's also 2 touches there on the monthly, but let's go to a weekly time frame quickly. And
so what you're looking for there, monthly swing high, monthly swing lows, and then weekly swing high, weekly swing lows.
Correct.
And same with daily.
Correct. So you can see here on the weekly time frame, we've had multiple touches there right on that monthly time frame. So I can actually even change that to a weekly for 1 or 2. So my weekly time frame support and resistance is in a yellow normally. And let's go to another one here. We can see there's multiple touches on the weekly time frame. So there's quite a few touches, 3 candles touching there, another 2 touching there, another one opening there, another one there. So we can also check on our line chart to see if we've had multiple touches. There's a touch there, almost a touch there, kind of a touch there. So I'm going to keep that support area. So let's go quickly to the daily time frame. I'm not going to chart all of these support and resistances because we're going to run out of time because I want to get into a couple of other things. So you can see a very nice resistance area there. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches on the daily level looking left, another one, another 4 there. So let us mark that as a daily area. Right there. And I'm going to change that color to a blue to distinguish between weekly, daily, and sometimes I even mark 4 hourly resistance and support on the chart. So the reason you have higher time frame support and resistances is the higher the time frame, the more likely that area is going to be respected. So if we go to a 15-minute chart, let's say, for instance, there might be areas of support and resistance in between there, but they're not going to be as respected as these bigger time frames. So there you can see there's a resistance area on the 15-minute, but if I start and there's actually quite nice resistance there on the 15-minute. In fact, let's go and mark that one. So I'll just put that in a different color blue. And let's just do that. So I don't know if you can see that line, but when you're trading on higher time frames, it really is a lot more accurate. So let's go look at the daily chart again.
There's a huge amount of touch points there.
Yeah, there's really are a lot of them. So if you look at that 15-minute support or resistance that are charted there, it's kind of between these 2 areas. So I guess what you can do, let's just mark this level here for the daily as well. Change that color. to a light blue. So we've had touches in this area, touches there, and a couple of touches there. And if we look left on the chart, always look left on your chart because it will give you historical levels as well. So I can see there on that resistance area on the weekly, on that yellow line, there's been touches there, touches there, touches there. So that's a very good area of support.
Do you ever use your VPVR to help you with these levels?
Absolutely. I like to use a fixed range. So VPVR will also give you a lot of the areas where there's value. So often where you've got a support and resistance.
That history, that historical value.
Absolutely. So you can also see where there's been very, very strong price action. You can see on this daily time frame, price came down, wicked down below this level, and we had a very, very strong bullish candle there. So that means that there's a very good value area there. At the moment, it's kind of been acting more as a resistance for where the price has been at. But once we break this level and we find support there, have a couple of candles touching down, we could see moves up. And obviously the converse is true for if Bitcoin breaks down below those levels. So,
can I just ask you, is this these monthly, weekly, daily levels, is this what you would start your TA with? Like start your clean chart. Start
Absolutely.
First with the monthly levels before you go into any other indicators.
Absolutely. On my daily charts, this is before I turn anything else on. I look at, okay, I've woke last night when I went to sleep. There were certain levels that Bitcoin was trading at. When I wake up this morning, I want to see which levels have been respected, which levels have been broken, and which levels Bitcoin has now broken out of. So I'll start then on
so it's a constant.
Absolutely, every single day. And
you'll move, obviously, as they change, you move the resistance lines if they get broken.
Well, yeah, I'll keep those there, but what I might do is within there. So let's say, for instance, if let's say Bitcoin moves up to this point and it finds a support at this area, I might turn off some of the other horizontal lines of support and resistance. Like I'll select that one. You just click the button to switch it off. And later on, if Bitcoin comes down and moves down to that, I can always turn them back on again. So now every now and again, I go and revisit these and just make sure and refine these areas. Because, you can chart these things and make mistakes on your charts. It's very, very possible.
Yeah, but these levels do really work. I mean, if you make sure that you're only opening longs at support, and shorts at resistance with these levels. I mean, I've seen those chart champions, guys. They don't lose money. They make money on money on money. And it's based mainly on the monthly level. I mean, obviously that's what you're mainly looking at.
100%. So what they do, and what I like to do a lot of the time, is I wait. I don't enter trades every single day. I mean, you can see here from the 4th of December that we had a huge wick down. I mean, we had a wick down all the way to 40,000 on Bitcoin. So if you'd waited...
We haven't seen it since then. That's what's so impressive is that that got bought up. And then now what? We stayed above 45 since then.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So there you can see on that daily trend line, that blue line, price has been constantly respected. We've had a couple of wicks down, but very quick price action up, very bullish price action up, except for...
I'm worried that those lower 40s are going to get sold out, or bought up with those wicks. I'm quite scared that we're going to re-enter that bottom area that we wicked into, because then I think we will fall quite rapidly, because all of that area has already been bought up in that first bottom wick.
Very possible.
It's a bit scary because that's kind of straight down to the 30s.
Very possible. And this is the thing, to have a bullish or a bearish bias, especially when the market is ranging like it has been. I mean, this is a complete range from the 4th of December. There's no clear trend that's been actually given on the charts, and it's important to look at the charts.
Trading range, yeah.
Exactly. So what a lot of guys do, and what I sometimes do, is if you go on your brush tool, take a rectangle, and you actually just draw a rectangle at the tops and the lows. Let's go to that bottom wick there.
I mean, that's kind of the volume range. And if we had to break up or below that, because there's so little volume right up or below, I mean, I could see high volatility. No matter either which way it goes, it's going to be volatile.
Exactly. So if we started drawing this block and looked at the support and resistances, I mean, there's another little kind of 4-hourly resistance there, arguably. Let's put it there, and I'll change that to a orange to distinguish. So if I'd taken a long here and seen this very, very bullish price action, I mean, that, although it's a red wick on the 4-hour, that's extremely bullish. Within, if I change it to an hourly chart, and I think even to a 30-minute chart, that price action was very, very quick, if I remember correctly. So even the 30-minute.
Yeah, I don't even think it was in the 15-minute candle, I think, or a 5-minute candle.
Yeah, let's go to the 5-minute there.
I know because I traded it. I remember it so well.
Beautiful.
You have a limit order set at the bottom there.
To myself.
Or were you just waiting, or how did that play out for you?
I longed that total tippy bottom.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but that is so because I'm using different indicators. So yes, I longed it, and it was a great trade. I think that was
so
like
you saw the bearish divergences coming, and then you were ready to long dip, or
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think that specific trade was like a 300% trade within 5 minutes. But it's just me. I'm silly.
Incredible.
That's not even your usual leverage then, hey? If it's only 300%.
Nope.
Going easy, yeah.
Oh, because if Sean must switch on the RSI, he will see immediately that thing was supposed to break down at that stage. And that RSI went totally in overbought levels, like instantaneously within minutes. And then you just know that this thing is going to retrace. It's just experience, practice, discipline. It's all it is.
Absolutely.
Boom. There you
can see. Maybe if you've seen it play out in the past without having acted on a dip like that, then when you see it playing out again, you think, oh, well, now I know exactly how it's going to play out. I must act.
And there's a perfect bullish divergence. I'm on my mobile and I can see it on the RSI. Perfect bullish divergence. Boom. And that is what I played. But sorry for interrupting you again.
No, absolutely. So I want to get to bullish and bearish divergences. You know, that's one of the ways that you can actually find confluence on your charts. But you're quite right. That was a very, very bullish price action. And if you have the experience, and you see that you could have traded that probably on price action itself, because quite often it moves like that.
Outperforming the market, because a lot of people at that point feel like they're just literally just losing money, money, and they're on the wrong side of the fence. Absolutely.
You know, at that point, you've got such little time to react, because I mean, even if you go to the 1 minute chart, you'd probably see very, very rapid price moving. I mean, look at that. It's like $10,000 within 5 minutes.
It's very steep. What's interesting is that if you're scalp trading like Vanna and you're watching these charts every day, then there's no doubt that something weird is happening, because that start of the dip, just those few 4-hour candles at the beginning was like, oh, wow, something is really about to happen. And I'm sure that's where Vanna kind of sits forward in his seat and he's like, wow, you know, nothing like this kind of, we haven't seen this volume in weeks. Like, now's the cowboy time, pull out the pistols.
Exactly. So, you know, you could have arguably in the last couple of weeks, you could have traded these ranges. And what a lot of people do at this point, they get extremely scared because of the FUD in the market. I mean, there's FUD, for those that don't know, stands for fear, uncertainty, doubt. And it comes in the news and it comes through people saying, oh, we're going into a bear market. And, you know, I'm not discounting that possibility. And what happens is we as retail traders, if you look at where Bitcoin is here, we start buying when we see these big wicks up. And actually, you should be buying where these huge red wicks are. Exactly.
That's just experience retail traders, too. You realize that there's a flop.
Charts upside down.
You know, There's a flock, and the flock is started off by a certain spark, and then it takes a while. You know, it started off by the whales, then it's the institutions, then it's the retailers, and then it's us, basically. And we don't want to be there. You know, we want to be in between the whales and the institutions. We want to look for the spark where the whales start the sell-off or the buy-up, and you hop in with them. And that's how we use that greed and fear indicator. Whenever that thing is in extreme greed and you're feeling fearful yourself, that's when you know you're with the flock.
Absolutely.
And you're not looking to outperform or subvert the market. I mean, if you look at that, I think the greed indicator, it's about 20 now. It's going a bit lower. But I mean, sure, if it had to hit 10, you know, that's the kind of time that you just buy some Bitcoin for the future, just because you're aware that when it's fearful, the price is low.
Exactly. And that's the time where the big institutions are actually buying. So we buying as retail traders, we're buying at these levels here, whereas the institutions are selling their Bitcoin there. We're selling our Bitcoin at these levels here, and those levels, that 40,000 level.
That's panic selling, exactly. That's where you lose out.
The institutions, the big guys like Michael Saylor and you know, the big guys, they're buying at these points. So quite often, I mean,
especially where you see wicks. What I'm seeing there that's worrying is that the wicks to the downside into the 40s are getting shorter and shorter. So I don't know how much more power the bulls have to keep it up at that level. That's why I do have coins on the side waiting, you know, for the 30s. I mean, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And if it breaks out to the upside, you know, you also buy. I've seen the moon strategy very often that he lays out. It's like if there's a big pattern happening, he'll set buys at the top of the pattern for the breakout, and he'll set buys at the bottom of the pattern for the breakout.
Correct.
So it's like really, either way, you're going to buy Bitcoin.
Really important for if you're doing leverage trades, and Werner will probably attest to this as well, is you've got to set your take profits. I made the mistake recently of entering into a ETH USD trade. I had a really good entry, and it was up like 300% at one stage, and I thought, we're going to go higher. And I didn't sell it, and it ended up going back almost right to my entry point. I ended up selling it.
It's like an elastic band a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
Especially if if you do the right thing and you long at support. A lot of the time, that support, you can just come right back down to the support. I mean, at that point, I guess my advice would have been to you should have taken 50% profit when you saw that 100%. You were in beautiful profit.
Absolutely. But you know what happens? Every trader, greed gets hold of you, and you think, oh man, I'm going to make thousands on this trade.
Well, I tell that to you now, but I can't remember the last time I took 50% profit.
Yeah, exactly. So talking about the fear and greed index and looking at where whales are buying in that. So if you just Google 100 richest Bitcoin addresses, or the top 100 richest Bitcoin addresses, these are the 100 top whales on the blockchain for Bitcoin, and you can see what
the newcomers. I must just say that this is one of the beautiful things behind the whole blockchain idea, is that there's transparency there. So because it's a blockchain, in the digital space, it's something that we can actually look into. We can see every transaction historically. We don't know who exactly owns these addresses or where these addresses are, but we know how much Bitcoin they hold and when they move their Bitcoin around.
Correct. So what I like to do is I go through this list and I do a quick scan. I mean, you can see this person's balance, or this institution's balance, 265,480 Bitcoin. I mean, that's huge, absolutely huge. So their first in was in 2018.
12 trillion? Is that $1 trillion? What is that?
Dude, I'm having a Jacob Zuma moment. I can't read the number. Yeah, but I think it is 12 trillion.
So there already is $1 trillion there. Jeez, wow.
That's huge. I mean, I look at always the last ins and the last out, and you can see that the last in, which is probably been a buy, was on the 29th. So let's scan down, look at a couple of. So there's the 28th. That guy probably bought on the 28th. Oh, this person bought possibly today. So let's go click on that address. So I'm just going to select that address.
That's awesome. You get to be like a Bitcoin stalker, snoop behind and see what they're doing.
I tell you.
And this is where you see how the whales are acting. And what I also saw, I was looking around on Glassnode at the whale activity. Retail interest has been dropping in Bitcoin, but whale activity has been spiking big time.
Exactly.
Which is like maybe a sign, who knows? Maybe that's a sign of an alt season coming, or taking a lot of Bitcoin, putting it into smaller coins.
A lot of guys saying that we possibly got an alt run coming. And now you can see today, 1744, this person bought 65 Bitcoin. That was the balance of Bitcoin, and that's the price that they bought Bitcoin at. So, and you can see the wallet is in profit. So, yeah, there's whales buying at the current levels. So that for me is encouraging. And you can see this wallet over the last couple of days. Okay, it could also mean that they're transferring in from another wallet, but normally it means that they have been buying. The 29th, and all of these are positive. So
I mean, in the current trading range, those are, of course, great buys. So they might just be, literally trading the range relentlessly until it breaks. A lot of people do that.
So here on Christmas Day, there was 39,000 that was either sold or that was moved out of this wallet. That's very interesting. So when I see that, I like to go back to the chart. Let's look at it on the daily, and let's see what happened on Christmas Day. Where are we?
Okay.
28th of December.
You see, he was at the top of the range, so perfect.
Yeah. So possibly.
So he took profits there, and now he's making profits on that sale.
Exactly. So
it's not.
Sold
you got to always remember that. Yeah, people are not just buying once. When you see those buys, they can often be taking profits on earlier trades, spot trades.
Correct. So there you can see the price at which this transaction happened, 50,800. So let's look at the chart. And there we go. Right there at our daily resistance level, 50,800. So they sold there, and literally they've been buying the last couple of days. So they've been selling there, selling resistance, and they're buying into support. So that for me is a very, very good sign that this is us going on the right track.
Is a good sign also because that's the volume that we're talking about. For the volume profile and everything, these whales are creating those support levels.
Absolutely. So sure, I spent a little bit more time on this than I really wanted to, but I've got so much to get into. Is there maybe we should
awesome.
open up
Take your time, Sean. Take your time.
Okay.
We'll do more classes. Yeah, you've got Wednesday also. I think it's nice to go slowly. This stuff is very simple for us. We've been in it for a while, but a lot of these words are new to our members. So yeah, take it slow.
Awesome. Maybe we can open up to a couple of questions on this kind of thing, and maybe we can kind of go in the direction of questions if there's any questions. I see Trader Giants, you here as well, buddy. Please, if you've got input, please.
Yeah, Ben is being quiet.
So just unmute yourself if you've got
I'm just on mute because my little boy is running up and down and making me crazy. So I'm just on mute. So sorry for that.
Dude, I understand. Cool. I've got 3 boys.
I know if you see us doing something wrong, he'll hop in.
Okay.
I'm sure you got some questions, guys. Don't be shy.
Oh yeah, Sean.
Yes.
Sean, why don't you just quickly show the guys on the object tree itself, because that'll be rather helpful for these low leverage guys.
Yes.
To rename the zones. You understand? So
yes,
let's say
that's exactly correct.
If you have like a bunch of 1 hour resistance and support levels, just to rename them like 1 hour support or whatever the case might be, and just maybe maybe claim a date to it, because that'll make life easier to these noobs that is really trading the way you are trading. It's just my 2 cents.
That's about 300 rands worth. I think that's a very valid point. So if we look on my normal chart here, I actually haven't renamed these, but I've got my weekly there and my monthly, my daily in a group. So with one click, I can actually turn off all of those supports and resistances. So let me go show you on this chart that we've been charting at. And you can see on the object tree here, we've had a couple of horizontal lines that we've drawn. So if I click on each horizontal line, it will actually select it on the chart. So I can then delete it or turn it off. If I click that X, it's going to delete it off the chart. So watch it did it disappear? And if I can go Control Z, it will actually reappear on the object tree. So what we can do, if I right click on one of these horizontal lines, I can go say create a group of drawings. So now it's created a group, and I can take all of these horizontal lines, which is my support and resistance that I've drawn, and I can drag them into that group. Because if I go switch off this group, there's still a couple of horizontal lines that are still displaying. And if I want to switch off my support and resistances in one click, then I've got to, oops, I've already moved that one.
Do you just use the text box?
So basically, you just use your mouse to drag them into that group. So I can actually minimize and maximize. So it works like I suppose like a Windows Explorer on Windows. So if I click that eye, all of them are off. Okay, there's one that I've missed. Where are you? Oh, there you are, horizontal line. Let's go move that one in there. So if I click on that, turn it off and turn it on, and actually, like you were saying, I can go rename that. So if I right click on that group and say rename, I can go support and resistance, and today's date is the 3rd of Jan 2022. Or I can say whatever. I can rename that to, if I want to group them according to daily, weekly, monthly, and put my 4-hour and 1-hour supports in a separate group, I can do that. So
show the listeners how to label them with the monthly and the weekly and the daily.
Yes, that's also a good point. Thanks for that, Jordan. So if I go and click on this support line or this resistance line, I know for my blue is a daily line. So if I select it, you go, let's just move that there so you can see the toolbar. If I go to my settings, you can see you can select style, text, coordinate, visually, and so on. So in my text, I can go and say daily level, and I can actually select that text and I can make that a blue as well. So by the way, with these colors, you can create favorites so they don't have to go and search on the color palette every single time. So let's click that, and there you can see it's labeled that a daily level. So how you go and select a favorite for your color palette, select your trend line or select your horizontal line, go click on the pencil or the pen, the color line, and by clicking on the plus, you can add a custom color. You can go and drag and add a color. Let's say I want to go a deep dark red, go to the reds there, and you can see it's a beautiful, nice red, and I add it. And now for the next time, it has added that as a favorite color. So let's quickly go rename these. That is a 4-hour.
Ed, you got a question, my bro.
Question?
Negative, must have been a mistake.
Okay. I see I've mistakenly changed that to red. That should be a blue. Okay. So that's my daily level. Okay. So we've got a couple of minutes left. So Jordan, what do you think we should chat about in these last couple of minutes?
I'd love for you to quickly have a look at Ethereum and just see what's happening there, and then
okay, cool.
Maybe one of the alts like ADA or XRP.
Cool.
And then I think
I'm gonna look at BitDAO because I absolutely love BitDAO, and it's been moving over the last couple of days. So
I'm actually
on the daily.
Happy. I've got a little bag going.
So I'm actually trading the inverse contract on Bit. So I'm accumulating for the long run.
So just for those of you who don't know, this is Bit is the native token for the Bybit exchange. So it's really, really interesting. I mean, it's not just connected to the price of the coin or how many people buy it, but it's actually connected to the liquidity of the exchange. And I mean, it's really interesting. Just like on Binance, if you hold their coin, like if you hold Bit, you get decent discounts on your fees, and you also get really nice rewards in terms of launch pool rewards and stuff like that, just for holding the native token. Because obviously, the more people that hold the token, the higher the price, and the higher the price, basically, the more value that is placed onto the exchange.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if you support Bybit, go buy some Bit, because if you look at Binance,
sure.
what is Binance? It's in the $50, I think. And
Absolutely.
they did release their native token a lot sooner. But basically, their roadmap is older. They're older. We're younger. I do see Bit going along the same route. And if you look at that now from, it's only $2. It's maybe like a 20x or something from here. So
absolutely. When I started looking at Binance Coin, BNB Coin a year ago, I bought some at something stupid like $15, and I thought, no, it's never going to go up. And I think it's actually sitting just under $600 at the moment. So I think this BitDAO has the potential to really do well. So ETH at the moment, we've got a descending wedge or a falling wedge busy forming on the daily chart. So I'm just going to draw those there. And generally, this is a can be a very bullish pattern. So generally, let me just see there. My trend lines aren't 100%. I'm just drawing them roughly. Generally, you can take from the top of that wedge to the bottom, and where the breakout happens, that's where it will go. So let's say, for instance, if we have a breakout happening, sorry, my apologies, we get price going up to this trend line, maybe rejecting, coming down, and a break, we could see price moving up again to the 4,700 area. So obviously, with these patterns, they can be bullish and they can be bearish. So it's important to look at the support and resistance levels. So I've actually got my support and resistance levels on the ETH USD chart. So I'll quickly show you.
Not a bullish break coming out of that pattern.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm on the wrong chart there. I've got to just open up the chart that I've got all my lines and patterns and squiggles and drawings on. Okay, so if I go to my object tree, no, not Bit. I want ETH USD. So, okay, let's just switch off that fib retracement. And there's my trend line. So you can see I've got my weekly, daily, and if ETH makes a move to the upside and gets to, come on, I want to move that out the way, and gets to this trend line, you can see there's a convergence there. So what I would do is I'd wait to see what price action is doing. Maybe look for, you can see on the daily over here, we've got a shooting star candle, which is a very bearish type of candle. And if you saw that shooting star candle, maybe on the 15-minute, like Trader Giants does, or the 5-minute or the 1-minute, you would have taken a position there, and that would have been a very good trade. You can see respected the upper trend line, came down, hit the lower trend line, and it's starting to make a move up. So obviously we need to take a look at the levels that are being respected here. Let me just turn on my 4-hour. Okay, I've got no support and resistance lines there. But basically, we've got a very big support here at the $3,600 area, and we're facing a resistance at the 3,873. Obviously, in between on the 4-hour and the 1-hour charts, we do have a couple of smaller resistances. You can see here on the 4-hour. Let's just draw a trend line there. We've got resistance happening here at that 3,800 to the $3,850 area. And at the moment, we've been rejecting. So what we can do is I want to show you guys coinalyze.net. So I often refer to these charts because you can see what the buy and sell volume is. You can see what the liquidations are. You can see the open interest. So if I go and search for, let's say, ETH USD, I can scroll down till I find the Bybit, and there's ETH USD perpetual Bybit. As you can see, the specific chart for our exchange, and let's change it to a 15-minute time frame. And you can see here, buy and sell volume. If I look at each of these candles, the green is obviously the buy volume, the red is the sell volume. I hover over there, and on the left-hand side here, it will tell you what the buy and sell volume is. So as I hover over the candles, look at the buy volume. There we had a more sell volume than buy volume. 8 million sell, 5 million buy. And of course, that is telling us that there's more selling pressure in the market in this 15-minute candle. Again, the next candle, 10 million sell, 6 million buy, more sell pressure. Again, 4 million sell, 2 million buy, more selling pressure. So at the moment, we've got 1.9 million sell pressure, 1.9 million buy pressure. So at the moment, the balance is still in favor of people selling, but it's very interesting to watch. So what I like to turn on this chart is the liquidations. And this is a free platform. So go to coinanalyze.net. You can see I'm not even logged in, and you can see these charts. So I can turn on the liquidations. So that will give you the long and short liquidations, or if you get confused, you can just turn on longs or just turn on shorts, and that will show you where there's been liquidations. So basically, let me turn off the liquidations. Sorry, Jordan, you wanted to chime in there?
No, I'm just saying it's very cool. I haven't used this before. Thanks for showing us.
This is so lekker. Another tool that I use to look at specifically the order book and a heat map is Bookmap, but maybe we can get into that on the next stream. Very nice to see where the large orders are and see what the order book is looking like for specific exchanges. So you can see over the last couple of hours from 3 o'clock. And my time frame is on UTC, so that'll be 5 o'clock South African time. We've had some longs liquidation. So essentially what's happened here in the market is at this point here, at that point, people were taking longs. So they were actually longing into what we looked at on the chart as a resistance area. So they over-leveraged their longs. And what happens is that the bulls come in, they sell at resistance, remember, and they sell and it liquidates those people. So obviously, because the people have been longing into the market, the way that the trade gets closed is by a short. If you do leverage trading, you know that if you enter a long position here and you exit your trade, it's actually a short. So that is actually putting sell pressure into the market, and that's why we see that candle there. And if I hover over that candle here, I can see that there's been 109,000 longs liquidated in that very candle. So often when there's long liquidations, it will translate into the market pushing down because those longs exit the market with a short. So it pushes down.
And I think a lot of the time those are the later, the retail kind of investors, the smaller traders.
Correct.
Playing at the end of the game. Very dangerous.
Correct. So they get in again. Here you can see there was some huge short liquidations over here. That was yesterday. So they've gone shorted at one of these points, and the market actually pushed up, and they closed, or their short positions are closed by entering a long position, and that has pushed the price up. So it took me a while to get my head around this, but play around with the charts. Yeah. So was there a question?
Nice to be able to see where the liquidations are, because those liquidations can be helpful. What's interesting is it's actually showing, where those red liquidations are, the long liquidations. It's showing, a bullish sentiment in the market. It's maybe just in the wrong hands. It's not in the smart money, because then they don't get liquidated.
So the other thing that I like to look at here is open interest. So if your open interest is rising, that means that there's more leverage positions coming into the market. So obviously you'd have to look at your long and short, your buy and sell volume to see what your positions are. But yeah, you can see there's a move up in your open interest from here all the way here. So there's a lot of.
What is that telling us? People are aping into the market for some reason.
Yes, your leverage is increasing. So sometimes if your leverage is increasing very, very sharply, that's not always a good thing, because it could mean that those leveraged longs or shorts are going to be wrecked, and it will push the market in the opposite direction.
Yeah, so a lot of the time the liquidations aren't good because most people are obviously trading on USDT perpetuals. So when they get liquidated, the money, the short, literally goes, and it's a sell. Just like if you're buying, you're longing. If you're shorting, you're selling, and then that's coming out of crypto into USDT, which is obviously not so good for Bitcoin.
So another nice site to use is coinglass.com, because it actually gives you a lot of the liquidation data.
I love CoinGlass. It's really cool.
This is brilliant. Really is brilliant. And there's a couple of very, very nice tools here as well. So you can look at your longs versus shorts. You can look at let's look at the liquidation data. Let's turn that. We don't want that exchange advertised here. So so you can change your symbol from BTC to ETH. So it's got most of the big large cap coins that you can select in your period. So let's go and select the last hour. So liquidations, Binance has been 12 million liquidations, and your ratio longs 11 million, shorts 700,000. OKEX there, you've got those numbers. Bybit 3.7 million. So what this to me is telling me that people are going long and they're expecting the market to go up, but their positions are being liquidated because they're over leveraging and they're thinking the market is going up, where it's actually facing resistance at these areas that we charted.
So it's almost like the greed and fear index. I mean, you can look at that. You see on the right there where it says 94%, 93%, 99% long. When people are going 99% long, you can probably sell, maybe go short at some point.
Look, the other thing, okay, this is on the hourly. So the other thing that you could say is that, look at all these exchanges on Durbit, 100% long. So that could also tell you a little bit about the sentiment in the market. But as we know, sentiment means absolutely nothing if a whale comes in and pushes the market down to what they did on the 4th of December.
Yeah, so this is it's 100% long. I would think it would be more 60-40 or something like that.
Yeah, I went to the wrong date. Yeah, so there's the 4th of December. So there really are a lot of tools that you can use, and for me to find convergence in entering trades and exiting trades is very, very important. And the tools that I mainly use is the RSI. And let me just switch this off so I'll quickly just introduce some of these. I'll switch them off and how to get them. So if you click on your indicators, you can go and select a normal relative strength index, and it will give us a normal relative strength. But I like to use a variation of this called the Divergence Indicator, because it's a relative strength indicator, but it will show you where there's bullish and bearish divergence. So without me having to find, let me turn off these 4-hour and daily and weekly so that there's no confusion.
So a nice simple one.
It's very simple.
Just gives you one line and the divergences.
Exactly. So yeah, you can see, let me just turn off those trend lines and that horizontal line. You can see here it's telling me on the 4-hour time frame at this point, price was making, let's just see at that point, price was making a higher high, and on the momentum indicator on the RSI, it was actually making a lower high. So that tells you there's a difference between the price action and what the oscillators are telling you. So oscillators will tell you and give you a kind of direction of where the money is moving in the market. So another nice oscillator to use is Awesome Oscillator. I use this quite often to confirm that I'm getting those divergences. So if we look at that same point, it's giving me exactly what actually no, this is not giving me what the RSI is giving me. So yeah, you can see the Awesome Oscillator is actually giving a higher low. So that is giving me conflicting information. So often it's good to go look on different time frames. Because on the daily time frame it's showing the same thing. Okay, now on the daily time frame, very interestingly, it's giving me the same thing on the RSI and it's confirming it on the Awesome Oscillator. There's a lower high. Okay, another indicator that you could look at is also for those guys. I know Trader Giants uses the Cypher B, but there's a free version of the Cypher B called Vumanchu. Cypher B.
I was about to say that's what I use. It's very cool. I'm awesome. Still learning about it. Actually, it's almost like an artwork. It's like a painting. You have to understand what it means.
To be honest with you, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I've been using it also to look at the bullish and bearish divergences. And there you can see it's given a bearish divergence. You can see here prices.
The line in as well. You can see on the left at the bottom bullish divergence. It actually puts in a bullish divergence line.
Correct. See, there's a bullish divergence there. So if we go to
what's cool about
the chart,
this is that it gives you the bullish divergence, but it also shows you interesting things to do with the money flow as well as the RSI.
Correct. And it also gives you things like VWAP, which a lot of the institutional traders actually use. So that's a discussion all on its own as well. It's a really interesting indicator. But yeah, do we have any questions from the guys listening in?
I think everyone's trying to process all this information.
I hope I haven't put you to sleep.
No, it was very, very informative. Wow.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, I think we can actually wrap it up. That was perfect. And yeah, guys that are listening, please feel free to give us your requests for Wednesday because Sean will be taking another class. There is a lot of stuff that he still wants to talk about, but yeah, any specific requests would be lovely.
Yeah, I think to try and cram everything into one a single hour session is quite difficult. But maybe next time I can do some talking about finding entries and exits and convergence, maybe some fib retracements, and how I use fib retracements together with the supports and resistances on how to find entries and exits.
Yeah, no, that sounds perfect. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Thanks, Lee, Tatenda, Sam, Dan, Dean, Desmond, Jess, Victor, Cornelia, Fede. Much appreciated. Hope you guys are all trading well, making profits. Yeah, awesome. Stay tuned to the group. Yeah, we'll chat soon. Go well, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys. Keep well.
Cheers, man. Have a good evening, guys.
Bye, everybody.